What's up, everybody? This is Phil from Zaid Comics. I am the writer and co-creator of Magic Cop, which is live now in demand on Indiegogo. And I'm just one half of the two best-looking brothers in all of comics. And we're doing a little review today of, as you can tell, over here, you can see we got some Trixie Cain action from Secret Comics. I did an unboxing video, so check that out if you guys haven't already, but it is right here. It's about 60 pages, I believe, give or take, of story and perfect bounds. Went over all that stuff, the paper quality and all that. But this is just going to be about the story. Now, I read this the night that I got it, and then I just read it again. So read it twice just to get it, in my mind. Thoroughly think about it, give it, an unbiased review. Coming from a writer and standpoint, and taking a look at the art. Right off the bat, you start off with a lot of internal monologue. Okay, a lot of I should say narration from Trixie herself, and that gives the reader a good sense of her personality. For my taste, I think she is really a dark character. He's trying to bring across the dark character, and it kind of comes across as, like very emo, dismal, and angsty. And there's places for that, definitely, for those characters. But she just seems like her whole world is very gloom and doom. And you get a sense of that, of why that would happen, kind of when you get into her backstory and you see her mother was killed in front of her. At times, for me, the repetition of her kind of driving home to the reader that she kind of has no emotion for what she's doing, doesn't really care. She's supposed to feel something, but she doesn't. That could get a little redundant at times. And redundant in the words Nasser uses. I'm a big advocate when you're writing things and going back and editing your dialogue or narration is I never want to see the same word used in the next sentence as it was in the previous sentence. So I caught some spaces in the narration where he uses the word feeling and then uses the word feeling again in the next line, and then sometimes he would use it. It seems like 3 times. I'm not sure if that specifically happened, but as a reader and as a writer, that jumps out to me, and I catch that in my own writing myself, and I'm like, oh, we gotta use a different word for that, because when you do things like that, and sometimes you can get stuck into a rut of it, you want to edit it because it'll jump out at the reader where, oh, I just saw that word. Now, there's times where you do want that. A lot of times in poetry and prose and stuff like that, people will do that to drive home a theme. But sometimes if it's not used in that way, it'll kind of jump out at you, and it did for me in some instances. My only gripe with the narration part is that she is kind of driving home that she's really dark. I'm a dark person that doesn't have a lot of feelings. It's kind of like that American Psycho aspect where she's very cold, almost robotic in what she does, until the end where she kind of breaks, where she says she almost breaks. And I would have loved to see her break, because I think that would have been an emotional payoff at the end. I don't want to spoil it. Something happens, and she says that she almost cried but didn't. I think it would have been a good arc to the character, even though this isn't a closure. This is a book 1, as it says on the cover, and it does live on a cliffhanger. I think that would have been a good growth of character there if she did show more emotion, because in the beginning, he's really driving home that emotion is not in her plethora of tools. So yeah, going on into the story past that, We get introduced to more characters. Stan is a cool character that I really enjoyed. Her kind of like mentor, definitely father figure, because her father is not around, and we get into why he's not around and why Stan was put in charge of raising her, which is cool. Lots of action in this book. I did enjoy the action scenes, and it's a comic book. You need some action, but the scenes were kind of put together in a way where it was action, and then you have this downtime, but you never saw the transition of it. It was very interesting where it seemed every night she was going out. Like, this world is riddled with vampires, riddled with monsters, so much so where she's going out every night. And she's getting wrecked. Like, she's getting teeth stuck through her arms. She's getting really injured, beat up, and Stan is dragging her back in. And you don't see that downtime of her recuperating. I don't know if it doesn't really tell you if she has any supernatural healing abilities, but maybe we're just catching those glimpses of her definitely going out. That is, I guess, probably the paging strain he has. Not really a constraint, but you don't really want to drag on seeing those points. But having everything in such a quick succession makes it seem like, man, this place is riddled with monsters. And every time she goes out, she's kicking some butt. Also, another thing, it seems like these vampires don't really turn you when they bite you, because she gets bit many times, unless there's an underlying thing where she kind of is immune to it. And I think that is kind of hinted at near the end. The main antagonist says that if you drink my blood, you could be like me. And that's typically the more traditional, original version. I think like that Anne Rice vampires had they would turn when you drink their blood. So we don't really see that in comics. It's usually always people getting bitten. So that was pretty cool. Let's talk about the art there. I did like the action sequences, and I did like the different types of vampires that Sean put in here. Different looks, I should say. This one kind of being my favorite. He's kind of reminds me of Pitt right here. He's got very flat face, really long jaw, big hands. Really, really thought he was a cool looking vampire. And the eclectic versions of these characters. Some were more lanky, others were like jacked out of their minds, others had long tongues. Really like that. But I want to bring up this page because both times I read this book, this threw me off. So you're going through a regular page, right? You have this Ben Henderson vampire jumping and attacking this guy. And this page is regular. And then you turn it, and it goes into this page. And at first glance, I always read, okay, we read this panel, and then this panel line guides your eye down here, and then I read this panel. I'm like, oh wait, he already has a knife in his head. But what Sean was trying to convey is that this is a double-page spread. You read across like this. But unfortunately, the panel line is guiding the eye downwards, and there's no letters on this page to guide your eye anywhere else. So you want to go down, and this happened both times. Subconsciously, I went down to the next panel below here and didn't read across, and I had to be like, oh, I forgot, and I have to read like this. So it's a cool composition, but with time, artists will learn and writers will learn how to draw the eye somewhere. This one definitely put a hiccup in the story for me on an art aspect and panel layout aspect. He could have still done it, make it look cool like this. Just with practice, that's something you're going to learn. So little criticism there. Anything else with the art? The lettering, I enjoyed the lettering, except for something that took me out of the book, is sometimes when they had flashbacks, they said, like, you know, a really long time ago, it would be in the Trixie Cain logo font, which kind of took me out of this story, because even though that logo font is cool, like I dig the logo font, it would take me out because it didn't match the rest of the lettering. And then again, let me try to find it. When they would do another flashback, they would switch it and not do the logo font. So it was inconsistent there. And you know, when you're lettering, you want the letter spacing, the letter font, all of that to be consistent. But here it says weeks later. This is the subtext font from Blood Reaper. They used the same font with that. And then the next morning, right here, they used the Trixie Cain font with those big dagger T's, and it's abrupt because, you know, it's a graphical thing, it's a graphic design thing, and when your eye is used to reading this smaller font, more dialogue font, it's taken out. Not being said that you can't use a different font for different purposes, but that one is so graphical, it's so harsh, and it's so trying to convey a message there. I think it would have been better to use a different one. The story's a quick read, you know, even though it's, you know, probably the length of two issues. You get through it fast. I think the action allows for that, because you're having these really cool action moments. This was one of my favorites, where even though she gets totally wrecked in the scene, but she just slides this dagger, cuts him through, and I think Sean is doing a great job of hitting those key moments in there. Yeah, the only gripe I have with it is kind of that she gets set in this characterization of this really dismal, angsty character who is all gloom and doom, you know, and kind of one-dimensional at the beginning, where her whole life is revolved around this moment where her mother died, and there's not really any growth by the end of it because she doesn't succumb to her emotions. You know, she's still that hardened person, and even when she's faced with something that would break her, she says it almost happens, but she still feels nothing. But yeah, book one, Nasser retired from comics, so we're not going to get a book two, which I'm sure we will get a book two. But you know, this whole thing's a learning process. This company is still early in their putting out books. Nasser's a 22-year-old kid. He's still learning the craft and sharpening his skills on this. And yeah, I love the cover. I love the cards that came with it. It's all a learning experience. It's so cool that, you know, young creators are putting stuff out. I am putting a lot of stuff out too in the coming year. So look out for that. And it's probably going to be hard to get your hands on this one. So maybe he'll do another Indiegogo. Maybe not. We'll see. If you guys liked the video, definitely subscribe. I do interviews on here, comic reviews, talk about writing, talk about my comic book Magic Cop. Leave a comment below. What do you guys think of the art that I was showing off, the talking points, some of my criticism, because, you know, I'm trying to review things fairly. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below, hit that bell for notifications, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, have you heard of Magic Cop? This is the comic book that we're making at Zaid Comics. It is live right now on Indiegogo. It is that Miami Vice feel mixed with monsters and magic. 88 pages, fully colored graphic novel. And be sure to pick up that ash can that comes with it. It's going to have a bunch of concept art and a 12-page pilot issue. So check it out. We're fully funded. That means if you back it, you're definitely going to get this book. And we're heading on for the stretch goals. So help us out to get there. Thanks, everybody. Did you guys know that Brandon Diaz, the artist of Magic Cop, has his very own Patreon page? You guys can head on over there and pledge for either $5 or $8 a month, and you get these beautiful digitally painted pictures by Brandon. He does one a week for all of his members. So head on over there, check it out.